It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. So I remember sitting in class one day doing some work for history class or something like that, and it was AP U.S. history. And the teacher, Mr. Ilbrock, he just had this passion for history. And after the bell rang and we were on our way out, I just remember asking him just kind of randomly because it just came to me and I was curious. I asked Mr. Ilbrock, why do you love history so much? Why do you think that it's important for us to be studying history? And he said he loves history so much and he thinks it's so important to learn. And the reason why he teaches it is because it helps us understand how to better ourselves. And I remember because I was quick on the way out, but that answer has stuck with me for years. And it's why things like my income reports and going back into time and listening to my old podcasts or reading my old blog posts and thinking about how far I've come so that I can become better as I move forward into the future, it's just so important. And so today in this episode, I'm actually going to be going back into the past related to something that's coming up in the near future. Many of you know, especially if you've been listening to the podcast lately, that my new book, Superfans, is coming out next week on August 13th. Superfans will be shared with the world, and I'm so excited and I'm so nervous and I'm just so thankful for everybody who's helped support it already. And if you do want to support it still, you can obviously share it with people, but better yet, you can actually get the audiobook for free if you pre-order the book on Amazon and submit your receipt at yoursuperfans.com before the launch date. But to help me and my team and just wrap my head around, well, how can we have the best launch possible? What can we do differently this time? Well, obviously we have to go into the past. And luckily, I have a foundational launch of another book in the business-related niche that was called Will It Fly? And it still continues to make sales today. I consider it a major success. But a lot of people have been asking me, well, how much of a success was it? How much money did it actually make? How many emails did you actually collect from that? And so I went into the past, into the archive, into Amazon KDP, into CreateSpace, into the earning reports, into Audible and ACX, which is the website where you go submit your Audible books and get the sales reports. looking at just my history with Will It Fly over the last 3 years and 4 months. I've taken all that data and I want to share it with you all today, as I've learned about this very recently. Just I hadn't gone back and actually kept track in such a detailed manner. So I want to share all this with you. I have all the numbers right in front of me. But first, before I get to that and some of the biggest lessons learned and how I'm going to take that experience and hopefully make superfans even better, let's get to the intro. Here we go.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. If he only had $40,000 to buy a house, he'd buy a DeLorean. Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Hiring shouldn't be a hassle or a drain on your budget. Upwork is your one-stop shop to find, hire, and pay top freelance talent, saving you time and keeping costs in check all in one place. Companies at every stage turn to Upwork to get things done and find more flexibility in the way that they staff key projects and initiatives by assessing a global marketplace filled with top talent in IT, web development, AI, design, administration support, marketing, and more. And I've personally used them myself and can vouch for them. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com. Go there now. Hey, what's up? My name is Pat Flynn. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Smart Passive Income Podcast. I'm here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. We are here today in episode 383 doing an income report on my book, Will It Fly? We're going to talk about everything from ebook sales, paperback sales, audiobook sales, bounty sales. What is that? I'll talk about that as well. Bulk paperback sales for events and things like that. Royalties from foreign rights of the book. I don't know if you know this, but the book was published in Korea, Vietnam, Romania, Taiwan, and Poland, and a few other places. And how much money was made from that, plus money that was made beyond the book. The book is a first step in a process to hopefully help more people and serve people in different ways if they'd like to be served in more in-depth manners. And that includes a course, that includes collecting emails, and I have a grand total to share with you at the end. And we want to compare this to, well, how does this compare to if I were to take an advance, for example? And I know a lot of you are self-published authors or soon-to-be self-published authors, or you might be weighing the pros and cons of self-publishing versus traditional publishing, which we talked about a couple episodes ago. I think, let me get that number for you. That was episode 381. Last week, in 382, I had a clip from a video interview I did with Hal Elrod where he talked about how he sold millions of copies of his book, The Miracle Morning. And it's funny because you'll hear in that interview, he didn't sell very many at first. It sort of took a snowball effect and wow, it just kind of really inspired me and blew me away. So I hope you listen to both of those episodes. We'll have all those links in the show notes for you. But today we're going to dive into the income of Will It Fly? And so this book was written, it's called Will It Fly? How to Test Your Next Business Ideas So You Don't Waste Your Time and Money. And it was written to answer the number one question that I was getting from people, which related to the number 1 and 2 fears that people had related to starting a business. Actually, most of my audience has even yet to start a business, and this is why I'm here. And the book was a great answer for that question because it's something that people can hold and work through. It's a system, a step-by-step process. That's why the tagline is how to test your next business idea so you don't waste your time and money. You often hear me talk about running surveys and having conversations with your audience members and your target avatar such that they're going to give you the language to use in your products and your emails. Well, this is a direct case of that, because testing a business idea and not wasting your time and money, I mean, I didn't guess about that. You all told me that, and that's why I wrote the book. And Superfans is a little bit different, because Superfans coming up is less about what people have told me they needed, but more about what I know they need versus what I think they know they want. And so Superfans is a little bit different. But if any of you are thinking about writing a book, I would definitely start with, well, what is the most important question that is holding your beginners or your target audience back? And that's where Will It Fly came from. This is why I continued to write it, even though it was hard. It was about a 2-year process. I hired a coach to help me write it. It was so important to me to finish it because I knew it was going to be so helpful. And 3 years and 4 months later, we're going to go over the numbers right now. So just let me start with the total number of units sold, and then I'll break them down by chunk in just a minute. But we sold 52,166 copies. Now, it depends on who you ask, but for me, that's a huge success. However, if you were to ask, Stephen King or J.K. Rowling, that wouldn't be a success. And that just drives me to my first lesson, is you cannot play the comparison game. If you go, oh, Pat sold 52,000 copies, I only sold this many copies. And this is why I'm talking about this. This is the first lesson here that sort of sets up this entire episode, because I don't want you to hear these numbers. I don't want you to think about the number of units I sold, because we're apples and oranges. We're different people. We're different audiences, and we're in different niches perhaps. So you have to base success off whatever you feel success is for you. And for me, and what I would recommend is making sure that you're at least getting this into people's hands, which means you need to market it. And you also need to, change people's lives with it, actually help them. And that's what serving is all about. And we can serve in many different ways, and you should serve with your book too. But a book is a great way to start serving people and to also build authority. This book has definitely landed me on a number of stages, on a number of different podcasts. There's a lot of byproducts of writing a book as well, beyond just the hard numbers here. But 52,166 units sold. I don't know what you think that is in terms of whether you think that's a success or not, but to me it is. And so let's start with ebook sales. Ebook, Kindle version, it had different prices because I did different deals. I remember there was a week-long period at the start to help market the ebook, to sell it at $2.99, and it went back up to $6.99 afterwards. So there was a big drive to push the ebook sale up front, which definitely helped because I landed a Wall Street Journal bestseller list spot based on my ebook sales, which was really cool. And I ended up position number 7 after a week of selling, I think, 7,400, just to give you some benchmark there. So I sold 7,400 ebooks at $2.99 in the first week, and that landed me number 7 on the chart. But of course, it's different every week. Different books sell different rates, and I got lucky that there weren't a lot of other more popular books at the time. Not to sort of discount my book. I think we did very well, and I think I earned that spot. But you never know. You might come out during the same week of 10 other gigantic books from gigantic authors, and you just kind of have no chance. So, it's kind of, you have to kind of, play that game a little bit. But overall, over the last 3 years and 4 months since it was published, there was 19,221 ebook sales. And so the overall income coming from that, based on those different price points from $2.99 to $6.99, I don't think I ever went above that. Superfans will definitely be more expensive eventually, although it'll likely have a discount up front like before, which really helped drive sales in that first week. But anyway, $32,893.93. That's the total number of dollars from ebook sales, and about 20,000 units sold over 3 years. Paperback sales are less units, 13,556. But the book is more expensive. The retail price is $16.95, but Amazon never sells it at that price. They always discount it, and it changes almost daily or weekly depending on what they know based on their algorithms and what have you. It just changes. So the royalties differ, but I think the average royalty that I get for that book is about $5, which when you consider the royalty from a traditionally published book after the advance, I mean, you're earning 10 cents, 12 cents per book. I talk more about that in episode 381 if you want to go into the sort of pros and cons of self-publishing versus traditional. But it just makes me, like, seeing it here at about $5 per book is pretty amazing in terms of just the long term of this, especially if it's a book that continues to get shared, which is why Hal's book is so inspiring. Self-published in millions of copies. I mean, 500,000 in Brazil alone, just ridiculous. And he had some strategies mentioned in that book, which were amazing. So 13,556 units, and that grossed $62,495.48 over the last 3.5 years. So less units sold, more income, 62,000. So total, that's about 95,000 for those combined. Then there's the other part of ebook sales, which is Kindle Unlimited royalties. So if you opt into Kindle Unlimited, what that means is people can borrow your book and borrow it for free. And I think there's some other parts of Kindle Unlimited that you get access to, but they pay royalties based on a pool of money that is sort of put in for people who are enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, and then it gets split between all the authors depending on how many pages are read, I believe. And so my royalties over the last 3 years from Kindle Unlimited is $4,087.88, so significantly less. But all those things combined, we're talking $100,000 over the last 3 years from ebook sales, paperback sales, and Kindle Unlimited royalties, which is really amazing. But here's where it gets interesting. Let's talk about the audiobook, guys. The audiobook sales, about 19,000 copies, 19,000 units sold, to be exact, 19,389. Interestingly enough, very similar to the number of ebook units sold, but the total income coming from audiobook sales, this is audible.com, 96,945. So that, and then there's a second part to the audiobook, which is really interesting. So if you have your book on Audible, which if you want to get your book on Audible, go to acx.com. I'll also put a link in the show notes for a video that I did where I showed you behind the scenes of what it was like to go into a professional recording studio to record that audiobook and what it's like. There's some special formatting that needs to be done if you're recording a book, but you can do it yourself. And although I have the equipment to do it myself, I wanted to be in a professional spot because I would just hone in on that day, and that day would be my or actually 2 days to record Superfans. Like I'm just in Superfans audiobook mode, no distractions, and there's an audio engineer that's there by my side or in the other room to catch my mistakes, and there are a lot of them. So I'll link to that video because it's really interesting. You get to see what it's like in the studio. I get to goof around a little bit, and you get to see what it's like behind the scenes. But when you have your audiobook for sale, so first of all, if you have a book and you don't have an audiobook, you got to get moving on this, and here's why. Because in addition to the audiobook sales, which you're going to make more profit, you're making about the same amount of profit as you are with your print book if you do create space or print on demand and not traditionally published. There's something called bounty. You get a reward, not for hunting people, but for getting people to become new Audible members. And if your book is the first one they use with that first credit, and by the way, that first credit is free. So there's some awesome promotion. I probably could have gone harder with this because the pitch is like this. Hey, my new book just came out. If you want to go listen to it, get your subscription of Audible. You get your first month free, and you can download my book first. Because what happens is if you then subscribe to Audible and you get my book first with that free credit, I get $50. $50 per person that you bring to Audible, and you have your book on there. And so I was able to send 490 people into Audible to download my book first, to then become Audible members, which generated $24,500. So that's $50 each. So the Audible Bounty program is definitely something worth getting into. It's sort of a no-brainer, especially because especially if you're a podcaster, oh my gosh, like your listeners love to listen, right? So if you have an audiobook, perfect, which is why I think if you don't have the audiobook already reserved for Superfans, which you can only get by pre-ordering Superfans now with getting your pre-order in and submitting your receipt at yoursuperfans.com. I mean, please do that. Like, it's a huge value because you're going to get the audiobook for free when it comes out. Anyway, $24,500 plus $96,945. So total audiobook sales, $121,455. If you include the bounty and the audiobook units, wow. More money than the ebook and the paperback and the Kindle Unlimited royalties combined. Pretty amazing. Now, let's also talk about bulk paperback sales. When you have a book, oftentimes you might be able to sell bulk copies of your book to people who have events that you might be speaking at, or maybe you're going to be doing a little meetup and you have somebody who wants to sponsor it and they'll buy bulk copies. Perhaps you might be working with a company who just loves what you do and they're almost considered a partner. They might buy copies for their employees or even some of their customers, which has happened before, which is really cool. All in all, not too much money considering all the other numbers that we already talked about, but $3,500 for several hundred copies that were sent to people in conferences and whatnot, which is not bad. Those aren't registered through Amazon and CreateSpace, the print-on-demand service, which CreateSpace, by the way, is now no longer. It was actually purchased and is now combined with Amazon. So if you get your book on Amazon KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, you have the option of also, for free, getting your book for print, which is really, really cool, and they make it pretty easy, which is amazing. So total book earnings this is a self-published book, $224,432.29. Total units sold, 52,166, not including the bulk paperback sales. So that means total earnings per unit, about $4.30. So it's lower than $5 per because of the Kindle stuff, and there were more units sold in the Kindle space, but definitely got it in front of more people. $224,000 3 years later. So I'm very happy with that. I mean, if you had offered me a $200,000 advance up front for this book, I probably would have taken it because it was 3 years ago and I didn't really understand the power of self-publishing, the power of building an audience, the power of having a book that spreads itself because of just how useful it can be. And I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn. This is what people have said. Some entrepreneurs who have coaching programs have made it mandatory reading for themselves, which is really amazing. So it doesn't quite have the effect of Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. And if you didn't listen to that episode, the big learning item from that episode with Hal Elrod and how the Miracle Morning has just gained so much steam, it's just because of the quick behavioral change that book can offer, and the fact that like you can tomorrow wake up earlier, practice your savers, which is taught in the Miracle Morning, feel instantly better, and then share it with your friends, and they get to try it the day after, and the book can just spread like wildfire from there. It's really amazing. With Will It Fly, it takes a lot longer for the process to work, and for that reason, it doesn't pick up steam quite as fast, but it's still getting out there, which is amazing. But wow, to have the self-published book, which still continues to sell, earn $224,432.29. I'm extremely happy with that. And thank you so, so much for everybody who picked up that book. I'm so incredibly grateful. You are the reason why it's a success. And you'll notice something in the dedication of superfans when you pick it up as well. That's for you, by the way. So anyway, is that the end of the income report for Will It Fly? Well, no, there's a few other things. Let's continue to talk about the book, and then we're going to talk, like I said earlier, about the stuff beyond the book, because the book is just the first step often. This is something I talked about in episode 380. We talked about it in episode 379. It's been kind of like book month here. Obviously, I'm setting up superfans, but hopefully the information shared in the past month has been really helpful for you and giving you insight, and some of these behind the scenes are really interesting as well. So I found an agent, and now it was actually Hal Elrod who gave me a great contact at a publisher who was able to support me by keeping the book self-published in the US, but selling the book and selling the rights to foreign countries. So the book is currently published in 6 different countries right now, Will It Fly? And it's really an amazing and interesting thing to have your book be published in another country because, number one, how do I know if they're translating it properly? Like it could say, it could be a completely different book or story. It could say mean things about me, and I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't know how to tell if it were real or not. But I trust my agent and I trust the publisher that we signed with. But in these different countries, depending on the advance and what they think it'll do and the market that's out there, every market's different. For example, Korea has a really big business market, so I was able to collect a bigger advance there, and it works much like a traditional book deal where I get an advance and then I don't see any more money coming in until after that advance is sort of made back by the publisher, and then I get a small royalty, 6 cents per book sale after that or something like that. It's different for every country, but it works in the exact same way. So here are the royalties from these foreign countries, just to give you some perspective. Korea, $10,000. Wow. And that's definitely the biggest one. But it was so cool that was the first one, actually. And so I thought all the other ones were going to be at that level, and they definitely were not. Vietnam, 1,200. Romania, 1,000. Taiwan, 5,600. And Poland, 1,800. Now, interestingly enough, the one that it's picking up in the most is in Poland, thanks to a lot of help from Michael Safransky, who is, I don't know if you remember the story that I've ever told about the marathon runner who crossed the finish line holding a banner with my name on it after having gone through a terrible accident. But he ran a full marathon with a banner with my name on it because he listened to the podcast, got inspired. And if you've heard that story before, he actually helped me get into the Polish market because he is one of the number one authors now as a result of learning from me and taking action in Poland. He's crushing it right now. I think in the first week, he self-published a book and it sold 40,000 copies in the first week. Like, he's doing better than me. Anyway, I'm just super proud of him. But Poland, 1,800. So in total, 19,600 minus commissions, minus finder fees, like, for the agent and whatnot. So, it's roughly about $20,000. But in total, so that's all related to the book and the book itself, right? In the U.S. and foreign rights. So total so far, $244,032.29. So we're rocking. I mean, we're at about $250,000 now since writing this book, and I'm just so thankful for that. But it doesn't stop there because, like I said, your book is oftentimes going to be a launching platform for other things. Now, one of the most important things that you can do with your book is try to collect email addresses. I don't think it matters what niche you're in unless, even if you're writing fiction, I think it's important to collect emails now. I wouldn't collect emails in the middle of a book. That being said, I can find some pretty creative ways to, hey, put your email in here to get sort of the backstory behind this part here. If you want to download the image and the illustration that is probably going through your head right now about this part in the story, go here and I'll get your email. Yeah, I think email is so important. I mean, you're going to hear me talk more about email in the upcoming months because it is something that is so important now, especially with social media and algorithms getting in the way. A lot of people are saying, social media is on the way out, and email marketing, although many people have said it's been dead for a while or it's dying, it's definitely not in my business, that's for sure. But it's something that I think more businesses will be needing to pay attention to. And if you're writing a book, you need to collect email addresses. And the way that I did it with Will It Fly was through something called a companion course. So this companion course, which lives on Teachable, by the way, it only took a day and a half to create, putting the assets up on there. And Teachable made it easy, by the way. I'm an affiliate for Teachable. I'm also an advisor for the company. I love it. And the reason is because they've helped me out so much. My first experience with Teachable was this exact thing, this companion course. And they just made it so easy. Anyway, the companion course is lessons in this online digital course. Like, you have to log in and get your login and you see the course lessons. One lesson per chapter. It's just laid out just like the book. Within each chapter, there's videos, if they're relevant, for things that maybe were a little bit more difficult to explain in the book. Some are just links to YouTube videos that relate to things that I mentioned. All the links mentioned in the book are in their respective chapters in there. Worksheets, high-res digital images of the things that are black and white images in the book, and those kinds of things. Didn't take very long, but it's just a value add. And a lot of people have said that it's really helped them because it kind of forces them to hold them accountable going through the book, which is really amazing. I actually got inspired to do that by a show called The Walking Dead, which many of you may have heard of before. But if you weren't like a super nerd fan of it like I was, AMC is the station that it was on, or the channel. Does anybody even say station anymore? Does that even matter? Anyway, they had this thing called the AMC Walking Dead Story Sync, where while the episode was playing, you can go to this website and it would, in real time with the episode, sort of like show you other information, like to add on to the scene, behind the scenes information, other things that you may miss. And it was really cool. So I was trying to create something similar. I didn't want to just go, hey guys, like get this other ebook, or hey, get the audiobook for free by sending me your email, or some other like usual bonus that one might offer. I wanted something that was very high quality, something that would be sort of an obvious. And it was mentioned at the beginning of the book, it was mentioned at the end of the book, and it was mentioned throughout the book as well. And I just pulled up the numbers here, and these are beyond what I thought they were in terms of how many emails I collected. So remember, 52,166 units sold. Here's how many people are enrolled in the course right now, which means I have their email. 26,680. That's a 51% conversion rate. I knew it was going to work, and I knew it was going to work better than what other people are doing, but I had no idea it was going to break 50%. I mean, 33% is what I was saying it was the whole time because I knew it was high, but I wasn't really keeping track of the numbers so much because they're all in different places. But audiobook and ebook combined, that, and it is mentioned in the audiobook as well, but we're talking 51%. Half of the people who read this book send me their email. Can you imagine just the amazing power that comes with, and number one, responsibility, but number two, the ability for me to now further help these people through the Teachable course, through other offerings, through blog posts that relate, through other relevant podcast episodes. Now, I had mentioned courses. I have a course called Smart from Scratch. It was the first online course I ever created, and it was created largely in part due to a number of requests from the people in the companion course. They said, Pat, this book is great. It's helped me get started. I got the companion course, but I want more. I want to go more in depth. I want a specific case study that I could follow, which I give in the course through my own experience. I want communication with other members. I want communication with you, Pat, through office hours, which I offered. And the way that all my courses are now are a result of the way people had asked me courses to be back when Smart from Scratch was starting. So I owe so much to the Will It Fly companion course members. Now, not all Will It Fly companion course members are obviously students of this course. First of all, 50% conversion rate from the book and then 100% conversion rate from the book into the course, that's unheard of. That's impossible, nearly. But that's what you want to shoot for, obviously. But in total, we have 1,684 students enrolled in Smart from Scratch. And no, not all of them have also gone through this funnel, but many of them have. Most of them have. 1,684 students, which total $215,308.71 in earnings. And the best part about this is, yes, you're probably like, whoa, that's like just as much money as you made from the book. Just about. But here's my favorite part. I get emails and handwritten notes every single week. Thank you for Smart from Scratch. It has helped me start my business. I launched my course and I got my first customers. I launched my product and I finally have something I can be proud of. This is why we do what we do. This is why you write books, but this is also why you do things beyond writing books. This is why you need courses. And if somebody had just told me that earlier, because my course came out in 2017, I've been doing this for 11 years now, without an online course for 9 years, only having done online courses for the last 2 years. And online courses are huge for me in my business right now, and I totally recommend it to everybody if possible. But $215,308.71 in earnings. That makes the grand total from book earnings, that includes ebook to paperback, to the royalties from Kindle Unlimited, audiobook sales, bounty units, the royalties from foreign rights, and remember, the emails that were collected, and then in turn turning those people into customers of Smart from Scratch for those who wanted to go deeper. And I'm not aggressive with it. I don't go like, hey guys, you got the course and you have to join this course you join the companion course for free. Now you got to pay for this other course every single week. No, I would say once a quarter at most. I'm mentioning it, and I could probably do a better way of automating it, but I don't want to be on the aggressive side. I want to I'd rather go on the side of people asking me, okay, well, what else can I get? And that's what's happening, and that's working. But I also know that there are people who could use the help who don't hear about it. So I could probably go a little bit more frequent with the promotion of, Smart from Scratch to the people who have read Will It Fly. But anyway, this is our grand total. 3 years and 4 months later, books and courses combined, $459,341.00. So about $500,000. Wow. Just thank you, number one, for all the support, especially the course students who have wanted to go deeper, and for all of your feedback and advice, especially the beta, the beta students. I cannot thank you enough for putting your trust in me. And not only that, being very upfront with me about what needed to be improved, what was missing, because you helped frame not just the course Smart from Scratch and making that the best it can be, but making all other subsequent courses, from Power Up Podcasting to 123 Affiliate Marketing to Amped Up Podcasting, even better. We have another course coming out later this year that has been the number one request coming up later. I'm just going to tell you it's about email, so just keep that in mind. But more on that soon. And I'm just very thankful for you. So hopefully this gives you a lot of insight and background on Will It Fly. And also another thing, I was very thankful that I looked back into my archive, and in March 2014, this was about a month after Will It Fly published. It was a very detailed sort of here's what worked and here's what didn't. And I'm looking through this. I'll link to it as well. It's for those on my team. It's called Will It Fly from Start to Finish. There's a part 1 and a part 2. But the overall lessons that were at the end here, I think I'm going to share them with you now. This also reveals some numbers as well from some of the stuff that was happening in the first week, or the first month. But here are the lessons learned from Will It Fly, and I'm going to comment on how these have been responded to now with Superfans coming out next week. So number 1, it says, again, this is about Will It Fly, and it was a month after that, published in 2016. Lesson number 1, I would give myself and my team more time. After setting a hard launch date of February 1, we were off to the races. It became our stake in the ground as we continued to make decisions and add new items into the mix. And as a result, some things were rushed or never happened at all. For example, all the stuff with the Kindle launch wouldn't have happened if we had given ourselves adequate time to get that uploaded. A little bit of background on that. We didn't have the Kindle book up and running and live on launch date. We had the paperback. The Kindle version wasn't available. It actually was a couple days later that it was fully available and actually on the same page, because it actually did go live the next day, but it was on a separate page. So I had to send people to two different places if they wanted to get the paperback and the ebook respectively. Anyway, there was a lot of mess, and it was because we didn't give ourselves enough time. But that's often what happens the first time you do something. You just don't know. But this time, you've heard me talk about Superfans and getting the pre-order for the last 2.5 months. We were up on Amazon with the pre-order months in advance now. So you can be sure we did not let ourselves fall into the same trap. We definitely gave ourselves more time, and that's one way that we responded. Number 2, I would have hired a coach sooner. I hired a coach to help hold me accountable and really guide me through the process of getting my manuscript complete, but I ran into a few roadblocks. Looking back, there was a good 3 or 4 month period during the past year that I feel I wasted because I wasn't in the right mindset at the start to write the book. A lot of it was not believing in myself. I heard from so many readers that this kind of doubt is a big struggle for them, and I want you to know that sometimes I struggle with it too. After Azul helped me over those hurdles and I started to gain momentum, the writing flowed. I didn't need to hire a coach this time because I knew exactly what the problems were before. And actually, I combined my writing style that helped me, which was chunking the giant book into smaller chunks, or taking the book and chunking it up into smaller, more achievable goals like individual chapters and treating them like individual blog posts. I just did that right from the start this time. And I used NaNoWriMo to help me, National Novel Writers Month in November, which is a big worldwide challenge to have, for all authors to write a novel in a month. I didn't finish in a month, but I wrote like 40,000 words in November and, an additional 12,000 words in December. And I finished on my birthday, I think, December 6th, which was amazing. So I finished the whole thing in a month and a half, but the outline had definitely been worked on for quite a while. It helped that I had a coach before. So if you haven't written a book yet, I would definitely hire somebody or look to people who have done it before, who have shared their methods. Number 3, I would get the manuscript into the hands of select people earlier. I didn't have a full manuscript available until January 1 to give to the launch team and those who were potentially going to promote the book. Again, this is all related to the time frame. So very similar. We just didn't give ourselves enough time. This time, having the manuscript ahead of time, we collected so many blurbs and gave it to so many people months ahead of time. We definitely succeeded this time around with that. Number 4, I would create a share page. One thing that was lacking in this campaign was a share page, a page full of assets like images, pull quotes, tweets, and email copy that anyone could use to help promote on their own platforms. We did have a share page for the launch team, but it was very basic. If I had a chance, and again, more time, I would have had more robust page available for those who wanted to help promote the book. We're creating something similar. I think we're almost done with it. I don't know, because we are getting the book printed right now. And then when we print the book, we actually have like a flyer. So in addition to the shared page, we have an actual paper flyer that is going to be put into the book and sent to influencers and some of my friends and colleagues to give them more information on how they might be able to help out and those kinds of things. And of course, anybody can share any of the pages. And I hope that you share either this podcast episode or the Superfans book with your friends and your followers. That would be amazing. Number 5, I would collect blurbs. Again, along the same lines. Wish I had the manuscript earlier so I could have collected more honest blurbs from folks who read the book before launch, which we would then include in the final product. I was able to get some people to read the book and collect blurbs, which you can see on Amazon. This time, I think we collected like 20, 25 blurbs, and we had so many that we didn't include them in all of them in the book, but we did it. And those are the 4 lessons. I thought there were more. Oh no, that was 5. But anyway, it's kind of cool to recap and see, and it goes back to history. It's important to look back when you're doing something repetitive, like how did it go last time? What went well? And this is why these reports are really key and why I'm really excited about these kinds of income reports that are now living on SPI. For a while I did income reports that were just about the numbers. And there were lessons involved as well, but it didn't go so deep into specific things. And now lately, any income reports that are published on the site are more in depth, like this one. This is actually a podcast that's inspired by an income report that was published recently on the blog, which is really cool. And I just thought that talking about it on the podcast would be interesting too, in case you don't read the blog anymore. And just it would allow me to expand on it more and share some of these other additional items. So yeah, a lot has changed, but a lot is the same, and we're definitely improving on it. And the biggest thing is just, I'm hoping, crossing my fingers with Will It Fly having done so well, launching as a Wall Street Journal bestseller. one would think that 3 years later, with a bigger audience and more fans, that this one will go just as well, if not better. But who knows? The book may not be well received. I have no idea. The people who have read it so far are my friends, so they're all saying nice things, and I hope that the fans will love it too. But even people who don't even know who I am, I hope they get their hands on it and love it as well. I think you're going to enjoy the stories in the book. I think you're going to enjoy the pace of it. It's actually a quick read. And it's a quick read because you got a lot of things to do. But these are things that are going to help you grow your business, future-proof your business, have a lot of fun doing it too in a way that's not going to, take away from that experience that you're offering your people. It's actually going to add to it. And so I'm looking forward to getting it in your hands. I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes. Let me know what you think on Twitter or Instagram at Pat Flynn. If you want to do me a quick favor, like if you're on, not driving right now, if you want to take a picture of your surroundings and where you finished this episode, I just always get curious about where you listen. Are you at the gym? Are you on a walk? If you have a puppy, make sure their face is in it. If you're on a nice walk with a beautiful scenery in front of you, take a picture of that. I'm there with you. As you can hear, I'm there with you. I just can't see where you're at right now. So take a picture, tag me on Twitter or Instagram at Pat Flynn if you want to send it through a direct message. Cool. If you want to send it publicly, cool. I just want to thank you for that. And if you pick up Superfans, pre-order it. Make sure you submit your receipt, whether you get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Target. Submit your receipt at yoursuperfans.com, and you'll get that audiobook during launch week when it comes out. And I'm just, again, so thankful for you. This has been a lot of fun talking about books leading up to the launch next week, and I'm just so thankful for the amazing Team Flynn members. That is you. You are Team Flynn. You are why this team succeeds. I'm just the team captain, but you get chances to score, and I pass you the ball every once in a while, and this is what it's about. We're in this together. Let's get a bestseller. Thank you so much, Team Flynn, yoursuperfans.com. I appreciate you. Show notes are available at smartpassiveincome.com/session383. Keep rocking. Keep going. This book is for you. This episode's for you. Take care. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers. Team Flynn for the win.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? ScoreApp helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Hey there, quick pause here because I have to tell you about a tool that completely transforms the podcasting workflow, Riverside. I get it. I used to juggle multiple platforms just to record one podcast episode. It was exhausting. Zoom for recording, Audacity for editing, and then a bunch of different apps just to create clips and social posts. I've tried other ones as well. They were okay, but they were clunky and super time-consuming. That's where Riverside has massively helped. I can do it all in one place: recording, editing, repurposing, one platform, one streamlined flow. I just log in, record with my guests no matter where they are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video all in one. And get this, even if your Wi-Fi glitches, Riverside records locally on your device so everything sounds and looks crystal clear. But here's my favorite feature, Riverside's AI editing tool. You can remove silences and filler words with just one click. Hours saved. With Magic Clips, Riverside also automatically finds the best moments and turns them into ready-to-post videos for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, all without the extra editing. So if you're looking to level up your production quality and simplify your workflow, go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. It's built by creators for creators, and I think you're going to love it.